Welcome to Local Edition. I'm Tracy Young. On the February presidential primary election ballot, California voters rejected the option to change the number of years legislators can serve. And joining us to talk about why Proposition 93 failed and the possibility of redistricting being on the November ballot is Assemblyman Bob Huff, who represents the 60th District. Assemblyman, I think sometimes that this is hard because here you are sort of voting whether or not to stay in your seat longer or not, and also your colleagues and peers that you like working with. But when you were looking at Proposition 93, what did you think of that initiative?
I thought that had it been paired with redistricting, it would have been a good compromise, because they tried to sell it that it was somehow harming the legislature, and that's how it got its original support.
The wording was
Right. They're trying to, I think it was a little deceptive on the title and summary, but nevertheless, we get in there in 6 years, we're just coming up to speed on the issues, and if you don't have the issues with you nailed down before you come in, it's very tough to be an effective legislator in some of these areas that we deal with. So I see that helping the institutional knowledge would be a good thing. 12 years is still a reasonable time frame, and I think that was the voters' original intent.
Do you think it basically then just failed because we'd been told for so long, I think it's 3 years in a row now, that it would be accompanied with redistricting, that maybe it would not have failed?
If it had been accompanied with redistricting, as the Democrats promised, then you would have had the Republicans and the Democrats in a bipartisan way trying to promote it. As it was, we were divided. The Republicans almost to a person opposed it, and Steve Poizner, Republican Insurance Commissioner, put in a pile of money against it and got others to help do that as well. So to the extent that we were promised that redistricting would be with it and it wasn't, then it's fair game. That's
what happened. So. I was recently traveling with somebody who works on transportation issues, and we were talking about this issue of it failing, and that person had mixed thoughts about it too. You know, she partially said, look, I really wanted redistricting. On the other hand, what she works on are these very long-term projects that require billions of dollars, lots of planning, EIR process, and she said, you know, I feel like we are missing because we're not thinking long-term.
Well, we are. I can't tell you how many issues are coming up now, whether it's infrastructure, investments like you're talking about in transportation, even the speaker rotation. We look around and we have members that have never been through these things before. So you're always looking to talk to the old timers, which is staff or the lobbyists, to help you through this process because the institutional knowledge is disappearing.
What do you think the chances are? I keep hearing there's maybe 3 or maybe even 4 different redistricting measures that may actually appear on the November ballot. I think they have to qualify with signatures by May, so they only have a couple of months.
I'm confident at least one of them will qualify. You might get all 3 of them. There's a couple of major differences. 2 are about the same, and then another one by Ted Costa, a little different. The ones that are getting the signatures now actively do not include Congress in the redistricting. It's just Board of Equalization, state, and the Senate.
Might that be a good thing, though?
Well, I mean, if you talk to the congressman, they say yes. Right. If you talk to us, we would like to see a comprehensive fix on this thing. So, at the end of the day, the voters in
California keep turning these measures down if we can get it through, but the House of Representatives is not included in it. Is maybe that's sort of the compromise?
Well, it may be the compromise. I'll tell you why that may be the brilliant stroke here is just that the congressmen will fight it if they're included. And so the money that comes out of that will be opposing it. It doesn't take a whole lot to defeat something like this.
Part of the effects that we have of Proposition 93 is that 4 of our top leaders are now being turned out at the end of this year. It's only Mike Valines, who is the head of the Republicans for the Assembly, that's going to stay in place, and he's fairly new in that position himself.
Right.
How is that going to affect the legislature, particularly when they're dealing with a budget deficit of billions of dollars?
Experienced leadership helps. When you're in complex deals, it just helps to know your person across the table. So you have a lot of people that haven't had the opportunity to size their negotiating partners up. So it is going to have a big deal. And here we are with a $16 billion and growing deficit. We've got 3 elections this year. Elections always mess up the legislature. You have just some complex issues, circumstances, and new leaders to negotiate it. It's going to be a fascinating year watching.
Do you think that I've heard different rumors. Some people say changeover in leaders is going to happen soon. Some people say those newly elected people, they are not going to want to touch this budget deficit.
Well, I do believe the Senate Republican leader will change quickly. I believe the Democrats will wait till after session.
All right. Thanks for your time, sir. For Local Edition, I'm Tracy Young. Now back to CNN Headline News.